Hi guys and gals, welcome back to the shop. Today I'm going to start working on a mobile base for my table saw. I need to move around my table saw quite a bit because I have a very small space to work with, so I need to move it off to the side when it's not being in use, and then I need to put it in the center of my space when I actually want to use it. And even though it's pretty small, it's still pretty heavy, so I want to make a little mobile base for it. It's going to be a real quick project because my in-laws are coming in like an hour and I want to get it done before then. I'm going to use these casters that I got from work for free. Actually pretty nice, but they didn't work for what they needed them for at work. So just going to use a 2x4, these casters, some screws, pretty simple stuff. Let's get started. So the base I'm thinking of making is just going to be 4 pieces of 2x4, a piece going here and in the back across, and then here and there. So I just need to measure how long my pieces are going to have to be. And so this is about 22 inches. I'll make it a little, let's see, 22 inches long. Make it a little oversized, so I'll make it 23 inches. And it's about 19 inches. So I'll make it 20 inches here. I've got an 8-foot long 2x4 here, and it's not really practical for me to cross cut this with the table saw. So I'm going to get it roughly, each piece roughly to length, and then I'll clean them up on the table saw. So even though I have 4 of these casters, I decided I'm only going to put 2 of them on. So on the front, I'm going to put the casters, and then on the back, I'm just going to have it up on blocks to make it even with the casters. So I got to cut a couple more pieces that are 4 inches high, because that's the height of each caster. And I was trying to decide, should I put the blocks in the back or in the front? There's more weight in the back because of the motor. So actually, even though it's going to be more work to lift up and move around, it's going to be more stable if I put the blocks in the back rather than having the casters, because the casters will still be able to move. I want most of the weight on the blocks because those won't move. I've been trying to figure out what the best way to attach these blocks would be, and even though I think dowels or like a domino or something would be better, I'm just going to screw it in from the bottom into the end grain, and really it should be fine because there shouldn't be a whole lot of side-to-side movement, and I'll just put a little bit of glue on those surfaces. It should be fine. Now that I've got these blocks on here, I'm going to put together the rest of the frame, and then I'll put on the casters. It's times like this when it would really be nice to have a big assembly table, a really nice big flat surface where you can glue stuff up and put things together, but I don't have space for one right now. That's definitely something I'd like to have in the future. Well, I got most of the stand assembled before my in-laws came, but just didn't have enough time to finish it up. So that was on Saturday. Now it's Monday. Let's get back at it. Well, I was going to use these lag bolts to put on the casters, but I decided that's kind of overkill, and I didn't have many of them or enough of them on hand. So instead I decided I'm just going to use some drywall screws with a little washer, and mostly because it doesn't really need to be that strong, and I think having these on hand is more versatile than keeping a bunch of lag bolts, because you're always going to need screws of various sizes, and if you want to reinforce them a little bit you can use the washers, but lag bolts I don't really need to use them very often. One thing I didn't anticipate, but probably should have, was that the stand can really slide around a lot, because on this concrete floor, the wood slides really well. So what I'm going to do is I got these couple strips of rubber, and I'm going to put those on the bottom here. Just going to tack them in place with a couple of finish nails on each one. Hopefully those will hold it on there. Otherwise, I don't know what kind of adhesive I would use if this didn't work, so I guess we'll find out. I'm going right into this end grain, which normally you might be kind of leery about doing because you would be afraid of splitting it, but these finish nails are so small and the pine is so soft that it's not really going to be a problem. There we go. I think that'll work better. Another concern is that the floor is not perfectly level, and probably this thing isn't either. So I'm going to cut up a few more of those little rubber strips. So once I get it into place, I can just slip those under whatever corner happens to be sliding around. Putting the table saw on the stand I think will be a little bit tricky. I just took off the feet that were already on the bottom of it, so then I can just screw through the holes for the feet right into the stand. I put that little box of nails down there to hopefully block the stand from moving around while I'm trying to put the table saw on it. So we'll see how it goes. Table saw is pretty heavy. Probably would be smarter to take off the motor before doing this, but that seems like a lot of work, so let's see how it goes. There we go. That was easier than I thought it would be. I think all I have left to do is attach the table saw to the base, and once again I'm just going to use a screw with a washer on it on each corner. I was actually kind of surprised once I put it on there how stable it is already. I thought I might have to do some tweaking with the leveling of the feet and stuff like that, but I'll show you what I mean. I think because there's a lot of weight, especially in the back, where the feet are, like the fixed feet, I think that helps with the stability quite a bit. You can move it around, but not too bad. I'm pretty happy with the way this project turned out. It didn't take too long to do, maybe 2.5 hours. And it's going to save me a lot of time in the future. Well, time and mostly energy trying to move this thing around, and it makes it a lot more safe, because really picking up your table saw every time you want to move it, it's not really the safest thing to do. One advantage I didn't think about is that now the table saw, the top of it is actually higher than my bench, So when I'm going to be cutting long pieces, I don't have to worry about them hitting my bench. They can go right over it, so that'll be kind of nice. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. Hope to see you next time. Take care. Okay, I've got a little addendum to make to this video. I wasn't entirely happy with how easy it was to level this, because when you move it around, it's very unlikely that you ever get it in a place where all 4 feet are actually going to be on the floor. So I tried using some shims, pieces of rubber, but every time you do it, you got to tweak it a little bit. So that's not ideal. Instead, what I came up with is this little, yikes, this little block. And so once I move it into the place I want it to be, if I want it to be right here, all I have to do is lift it up a little bit, slide that block in, and now it lifts it up off of the wheels, and now you're just on you're resting on 3 spots, 2 in the back and 1 here, and they've all got rubber on the bottom, so it's not going to slip and slide, and it's self-leveling basically, because you're only going to be on, it's like a 3-legged stool. So I think this is going to work good and pretty simple. I thought about making some sort of screw thing that you'd get into place and then screw down to like level each foot, and why make things more complicated than they have to be when I can just shove a little block underneath there? That's going to work fine. So thanks for watching, and see you guys next time.